You are listening to the Shoot Your Shot podcast. I'm Jen.
And I'm Megan, and we're two boss babes sharing our businesses and inspiring you along the way.
We are back together today. It's been a little while. We are going to kind of do a recap of life, business, all the things. And then today we are actually going to dive into re-looking at our
vision boards.
Thank you.
Yes, we've been both going through something really exciting with our businesses, and it just seemed like the time to reflect. We're almost into May, which is the 5th month of the year, which is just crazy that we're almost halfway through, and we just wanted to talk about running into busy season, since May is actually one of my busiest months. I don't know about you.
This May is.
Me too. I don't know why.
June has still always been my busiest, like by far. June is definitely the busiest, and then fall again too. But yeah, this is our busiest May to date.
Me too. I don't know what the deal is with that. It's very exciting.
We're here for it.
Yeah, and also, by the way, guys, I was traveling, so we're gonna get into that. But I came back either with a cold or allergy, so I'm like into the mic, and like my throat is a little bit sore. So if my voice sounds a little weird, or like you see me whipping out my tissue from my pocket, if you're on the video on YouTube, that is why. I'm fine, but I look a little nasty. So anyway.
It's still allergy season here with the rain and all the flowers blooming, all the things. Yeah. All the things.
Anyway.
So do you want to kick us off
today? Oh my gosh. Okay, so I just got back from my retreat in Oregon. I'd been chatting about it with you guys on the podcast. I think I mentioned it probably once or twice. I'm moving to Alaska, as you guys may know. So next summer, June, July-ish, I will be moving into the Anchorage area with my boyfriend. So exciting. And I actually just got an inquiry for July last night, like at 1 a.m.
Stop.
Yes. So I'm so excited for that.
What's the time difference there?
4 hours.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm so stoked for that. But thinking ahead of like, how do I transfer my bookings to the other coast? I wanted to obviously take photos in that coast before moving out so that I could kind of market myself and post on Facebook and, transform my Instagram feed to be more PNW rather than Northeast. So anyway, that was the dream. And I almost bought a ticket from somebody else. She had like bought one and was trying to sell it on Facebook. She was like, oh, I realized like I can't go, or like the expense, I probably just shouldn't. She was like, I was trigger happy and bought a ticket right away though. And she was trying to sell it. And I almost snagged her ticket from her. But the reason why I was hesitant to was because I didn't know the person that was organizing it. I like checked out their Instagram, but I wasn't really like enthralled. I didn't know who they were. I hadn't been following them. And I was like, maybe like I want to, but I don't know. And then Bert and Alex from Chasing Sunsets, who we had on the podcast, if you dig deep, the best. They're a photo video husband-wife duo, and they're incredible. And I've looked up to them so much over the years. I saw that they were posting about a retreat that they were going to and were part of putting on in Oregon. And I was like, damn, I'm glad I held off. And I didn't buy that other girl's ticket, because this is the one that I should be going to. Like, this is the one that I was meant to see. And it was amazing. So I went because of them. And then I think I had already been following the organizer. Her name is Shelby Lane. She's fantastic. I'm pretty sure I was already following her, but since booking a ticket, I had been watching her stuff more and was just so excited to meet her too, just because I loved her vibe and I just loved her approach and how normal she is, and how much she loves her business. But at the end of the day, she's just like a regular person, and she really shows that. And she's just funny and like easygoing and just comfortable to be around. So I was really looking forward to that. And so I sent the link to a friend of mine who loves to go to retreats. She went to a retreat a couple years ago in Colorado. She went to one last year in California. She just like loves to adventure. And I was like, Kelly would go with me. I know that for a fact. So I sent it to Kelly and I was like, Kelly, if you go, I'll go. And she was like, shut up, I'll go. Yes! And so we went together. She just moved to California, but she's from the Boston area. So we actually met there. We met at the PDX airport. We didn't get to travel together, unfortunately. That would have been cool. But we met there.
Wait, so was this your first time traveling alone?
No, I've traveled alone before. I did a wedding in Texas a couple years ago, and I've gone to see my sister before. And I did a shoot in Utah. Not like this, though. It wasn't like a retreat. Like, this had educational elements into it and lectures and stuff. This was different. This was like actually a retreat. The shoot that I did in Utah a couple of years ago was just a bunch of shoots. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I went with Kelly. We met there, and then we carpooled with 2 other girls. Kelly rented a car, and we traveled with 2 other girls that didn't have a ride. And we ended up making a cute little group together, and we had like a slumber party all week. We like hung out in the same room, and it was just the best. It was so much fun. We took a bunch of pictures together and like swapped headshots, and it was just like such a cool, uplifting experience. And then even with the rest of the girls that were there that I wasn't as connected with, like I didn't hang out with as much just because we weren't driving together is all. They were all so nice. Like everybody that was there was just like so open and like not cliquey, and like people went with their friends, but like they were willing to make new friends too, and it was just like such good vibes all around. I made a new friend who's from Buffalo. It's like not that far in the grand scheme of things. So like that was so cool, and just it was a blast. And we got there, Kelly and I and the 2 girls, and right after we got there, like 30 minutes later, Britt and Alex walk in the door, and I was like, oh my god, because I didn't know if they would like be there the whole time or if they were just like giving a lecture and would like leave. Like I didn't know what the vibe was. I had the itinerary, but I didn't even look at it because I was like, Britt and Alex are going, I don't need to know the rest.
Done.
Buying my ticket, I don't care. And they walked in the door and immediately ran up to me and gave me a hug and then said hi to everybody else. And I was like, guys, they were just so nice. And we talked about the podcast, we talked about you, and it was just like so nice to meet them in person. And they're just like such genuine people, and they remember everybody that they meet. Like the whole time that they were there, like Britt and Alex were talking to each other like, oh, that reminds me of like blah blah blah, the maid of honor from so and so's wedding. Like they remember really like truly everybody. And it's just so cool, and it makes you feel so special. And their lecture was so great. It was about making people feel comfortable in front of the camera, and like how to pose them confidently and make them feel good about themselves, and just, you know, all the things that you'd expect them to say. They were just so great. And we did 2 bridal sessions. Everything was kind of on the beach. I wasn't really expecting that because I didn't even know the first thing about the trip. I was just excited that Britt and Alex were going to be there, and Shelby looked really cool, and I was like, I don't even care, I'm just going. Because wherever it would be, it's going to work out in my favor to promote myself for Oregon. So I was like, I don't even care. I was like, I need to just go. But everything was kind of on the coast. It was on the beach. And I'm not a very beachy person, so I was a little bit disappointed by that, but that's also my fault for not even checking it out. But regardless, had a fantastic time and love the photos that I've gotten. I'm just not a very beachy person, so that's all. But we did 2 bridal sessions. One of them was on this cliffside. It was like a cliffside elopement, and it looked like Scotland or like Ireland or something. You know how like everything is just like, and then there's a drop off, and it's just water, and it's so green and blue, and everything is just so vibrant. That's what it looked like, and it was just so cool, and it was so windy, and like the bride had this cool like scarf thing going on, and it was like whipping around behind her, and it was just like so beautiful. And then we did another one at the beach, and the bride had this like really cool intricate dress that had like crisscross like lace sleeves. It was like kind of looked like a corset in the back, but on her arms. I was like, ooh, I've never seen that before. And then we did 2 casual couples, and one of them was, I guess they were both kind of like a grungy sort of look, which I don't know, I really liked, because I feel like Alaska people wear a lot of Carhartt overalls, like jeans. I don't know. It's just like
the vibe.
Yeah, the girl was in like a Monster Truck t-shirt. It was like so cool. And it was just so amazing. And I posted.
I just love how you made the word grungy sound so nice.
Well, because I think it is nice.
I
like
love that though, and I totally get what you're saying in that aspect. But that was just hilarious.
Yeah, it wasn't like emo goth. It was like normal.
Yep.
Like they weren't trying to look fancy or polished. It was just like you show up and hang out with your friends and you snap some pictures. That's kind of what it felt like. They were in like normal-ish clothes, very artsy, very Portland. Like it was cool. It like definitely fit the vibe, and it was just all the couples too. All of the model couples that she got were so nice, and they were truly models. And they were just like so down to do anything that Shelby asked them to do, and it was just amazing. And I posted one set of images from one of the grungy casual shoots when we were there, because I was just so excited about how it came out. It was the perfect golden hour. We were like in like this grassy, sandy area, so it felt more like like the grassy fields that I'm used to, but then there was like this beautiful water background, and it was just so gorgeous, and the couple was so cute, and I was like, well, I have to post these stat. So I edited some and posted them the next morning, and on the way home, Kelly and I are at a restaurant. We dropped off our 2 new friends at the airport, and we went to get lunch before it was our turn to fly. And I got an inquiry for Oregon before we even left. I was like, shut the fuck up.
Stop
it, that's so cool.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Couldn't go because they didn't realize I wasn't local, and they were like, we can't pay your travel fee. But just so cool and validating to be like, damn.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's the reason why I went, was to be able to market myself for P&W. And all I did was post a couple pictures. I didn't even try that hard. And I was like, oh my gosh, imagine what I can do if I try. So
Start really,
if I like really, really put energy into it. So that was just really validating to be like, already it was money well spent, you know? So, and I wasn't even home yet. Like, that was just so cool. So I don't know if I got a little bit of a cold or if it's allergies, because I spent a lot of time at the airport. Originally, Kelly and I were considering going with 2 other girls to Washington afterwards, doing like a mini trip after the fact. But they kind of just wanted to hang around Seattle. And I'm not really a city person. I don't really care for just walking around Seattle, taking the train. So I was like, maybe I'll rent my own car and I'll do like Olympic National Park or something, which is like around the corner. But then after we had like started planning some of that, and I actually bought my flight home from Seattle, I thought that we would drive like from Portland to Seattle and hang out, and then I'd fly home from Seattle instead of Portland. Right after I bought my ticket for that, the friends that Jake and I went to Alaska with, we were planning a trip for beginning of June, and we were thinking like Montana, or like we didn't have anything planned yet. And right after I bought my ticket for that, they were like, let's go to Washington. And I was like, oh, great. Sounds fantastic, but I'm already going to Washington. So I was like, I don't need to do both. And I'd rather spend a week in Washington than like 2 days. Yeah. And also not Seattle. So, because then I'll get to see more of what I really want to see. So I backed out of that and changed my flight. And there were only 2 flights left that were like, you know, reasonably priced, sort of. And one was for noon and one was for midnight. And we had to be out of the Airbnb at 10, which is like a 2-hour drive from the airport. So that would have meant leaving at like 7 a.m. or something. And Kelly's flight wasn't until the afternoon, like 5. And I was like, ugh, I don't want to make her have to like drive me to the airport and like sit around all day. So I was like, I guess I'll do the midnight flight. But then we ended up carpooling with these 2 girls who had a midday flight and had to be out of the Airbnb at like 7 a.m. anyway. So I was like, okay. I totally could have done the noon flight. Right. But instead, I hung around the PDX airport for 10 hours and flew to Dallas and then flew to New York City and drove myself home. So I didn't need to do that. But anyway, I think that's part of why I might be a little, because,
you know, did you get home again?
Don't sleep well. So my flight was midnight and I got home the next day 11 a.m.
Oh my goodness.
No. So yeah, that would have been 12 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, what a day. What a
Plus
day.
like the 8 hours waiting in the airport. So yeah.
God bless your soul.
Because we got there at like 4 or 3.
Airports alone stress me out.
So.
But
yeah,
you were probably on such a high from
I was. And you know what?
The trip.
The 8 hours, that sounds dreadful. It really wasn't even that bad. Because I was editing all the pictures.
Yep.
I read my book a little bit. Yep. I, got a chicken sandwich, and I, was texting all my friends who had just gotten home, and they were like, oh, my mom just picked me up from the airport. She went on a Costco run, and now she's picking me up. I was like, oh my God, haven't even left the city yet. But it was fun. It was like a slow period because, at a retreat like that, you're just like so into it, and you're not connected to your phone or your family or like your friends. And so once you have like a minute to sit down, it's like, wow, I finally got to reconnect. I posted on my personal Instagram and just like, got to tell everybody about my experience. So that 8 hours, it went by so fast. And if I had gotten home, I would have wanted that alone time when I got home anyway. But instead I was ready to like see my family and like hang out with them. So it all worked out, and it was really, really great. And just a freaking blast. So that was my week.
Amazing. Oh, I love that. I love that. And you just get so much. I mean, I've been on 2 retreats now. Yeah, 2. I went on one with Alexis, which was local, and then I went to the one in Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
And both of them, when I came home, I was like so inspired, so
Yeah.
ready. And you do have to remind yourself, though, like to look back, because I feel like some of the things like from the Puerto Rico trip, which was based on mobile bars, I need to go back to like my notes and go back to the exercises that we did and just like remind myself what it felt like being in that room.
Yeah.
And then that relights you up again and again. So
Yeah.
definitely like go back to, you know, in a few weeks from now, just like remember to, like what we're doing today, to go back to your vision board. Like remember that, because the hustle and bustle and everything gets so easy to forget.
Right.
And it just like brings you back to a happy place.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Yeah, I'm feeling so rejuvenated
Yeah.
and fresh and ready for the busy season.
What was like your biggest takeaway on the educational side?
Ooh, there was some really interesting SEO stuff that Shelby mentioned. She did like a Q&A session. And I asked her about SEO. I was like, most of my inquiries come from social media, like Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, as I'm sure hers do, because she has like the same number of followers as you. She's like 30,000 something. And she showed me this really cool SEO hack about renumbering your images. Like, do you remember we had the SEO expert on last year or the year before?
Yep.
She was like, what do you do for SEO? And I told her that. And I was like, I do that on my website. And like, I have the keyword thing going on. But like, besides that, that's kind of it. And she told me this kind of just applies to photographers. But you could do this too. Probably, I think you could probably do it like on your iPhone maybe. But she said, even besides just your website, rename your images, period. So that when I'm sharing them with clients and clients are posting them online, instead of having it be like image 123, it'll be like Cannon Beach, Oregon elopement 123.
Yep. Love that.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking
that
like
blew my mind. I didn't think about it for Instagram.
Yeah. I mostly post from my phone. So that would be hard. Like you can't save it on your phone, right?
Yeah, I don't know if you could renumber your images on your camera.
But I'm thinking like you can also post from your desktop too.
Oh yeah.
So maybe just like focusing on that more, and maybe that's saved.
Yeah, because when I do my galleries, like I'm in control to change the name and stuff when I'm editing the photos. Yeah. She also showed us this like metadata section in like my photo editor, where you can put in a bunch of keywords and it saves it like inside the photo. You can't read it anywhere, but when the internet is reading the photo, that's where you would put like you know, like those phones that are set up for the blind, and it'll come up with like the action of the image or something. It'll like read it to you. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't know.
Like Google will come up with an image and then it'll like audibly say for like a phone set up for the blind, it'll be like
that, but I'm not familiar with it.
Yeah, it'll be like couple running on the beach, rock in the background, oceans crashing, something like that. You can type that. I didn't know that you could type that in yourself in the photo editor, and she said that she does that, but then just puts in a bunch of keywords. So it's like Cannon Beach, elopement photographer, Oregon, blah 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 blah.
I have to say,
so cool.
Past year, like my off season when my leads start to come in, I'm getting a lot more from Google this year. Okay. And I don't know if that is from just being in business for 5 years or if it's from, I don't know what it's from. I would love to do like a deep dive of that, but I just don't have the knowledge or time or energy or anything. Yeah. But like Instagram used to be my number one platform, and I'm thinking it's like tied with Google right now. Wow. Which is that's crazy wild. Because I always used to get all of my leads from social media, but yeah, now it's people are putting online, which also to me means Google or some type of platform. Right. But primarily Google is the only one that I'm on. So yeah, it's interesting. And I haven't really done any changes, updated anything. So I would love to do more research on that to see why. Not that I'm complaining, but
how often do you get reviews? I know that you poke people for reviews.
I have not. Like in a while, which is because I know that when you get a review, Google like thanks you, and it's like pops you up a little bit more. Right. But no, because I've been in off season, so I really haven't. Even though this past off season, I've reached out to a lot of past clients, but it's not easy to get reviews. I mean, I think for you, it's such a more intimate experience with your clients. Yeah. Versus me, like, it's not as intimate.
Yeah.
So, and I'm very thankful. I do have a lot of reviews, but I haven't lately, so I need to get back on that. So we'll see.
I would love to know that, because that was my whole question for her. I was like, if Instagram or like Meta like went down tomorrow, it's like, would I still be all right? Can my business like keep on as normal, or like would it really tank? And I was like, I would love like that to become more of, you know. And so we talked about newsletters a little bit. And
what was her hot take on newsletters?
I don't think she has one. Okay. So she was like, I don't do one, but Britt and Alex just started one.
Okay.
And that was really cool. Actually, it's been like Alex's project, not really Britt's project. But he was doing the like weekly newsletter as we were leaving, like on the last day, and he was like showing it to us a little bit. And I read it like as soon as he hit send, because I'm subscribed. And it was just really cool to be able to hear from them personally. It's like everything that I would open up my stories and start speaking, just pop it in a newsletter too. Why not?
I think for me, like what I'm going to talk about is the next Mompreneur event. I think that's been a huge platform for me to use my newsletter on. But I need to remind myself that my following is the vintage horse. So it's like, it's hard. But like right now I'm doing 2, I would call them public events. So it's a great opportunity for me to get that out too. So stuff like that is great for my newsletters. And then I love doing like a cocktail of the month or something.
Yes.
And people really do enjoy that. So I need to get back on it. And it's just like that reminder of, hey, I'm here. I'm in your inbox.
Yeah.
Don't forget about me.
Yeah.
And then when somebody's a photographer or a mobile bar, they're going to be like, oh, wait. Yeah. The vintage horse.
Yeah, because the algorithm is so crazy too. Like you can follow somebody and love them, and then they can like disappear off the face of the earth. And you'll never hear from them again. But if they're on your newsletter, then you might see from them like, you know, the 21 times that you need to see them for it to soak into your mind without them being on your algorithm. Or if you even like put a link or something in the newsletter for be like, oh, my most recent post, then they can click on that and go back to your feed, and then Instagram will push you again. So I think I might do it for that, especially with my move. I might start it when I'm moving, because I'll have a little bit more time. I'll probably have a little less bookings at that moment in my life. And also just because it would be a cool adventure that I think people might be interested in reading about. Especially like saying goodbye. It might be like a nice, cute little diary that like everybody around here might still be able to, you know, see me. And then they might, you know, text me and be like, oh, I saw, you know, like start a conversation with me, which I would love, because I don't want to bother anybody. Elevate your photography business with Narrative Select. Focus more on creating and less on repetitive tasks like checking eyes, focus, or matching skin color tones. Say goodbye to slow software, load raw files in seconds, review images instantly, and export your selections to Lightroom in style with just one click. Call your photo shoots twice as fast using Narrative Select. Try Narrative Select plus Edit today with 1,000 free edits with the link below.
Are you looking to up your client experience? HoneyBook is a leading client management tool for accepting inquiries, sending invoice and contracts, and keeping all your emails in an easy and safe space. Check out their amazing tools like the expense tracker, batch email sender, and email templates to get messages to clients with ease. Make your business run faster and more efficiently with HoneyBook. Use the link in the description for 25% off your first year. That's a 1-week free trial and 25% off your first year of HoneyBook with the link below.
It's, you know, the door is open. And I think it would work out really well for me too, because I would love to come home like twice a year or something to do sessions with past clients. And it might be nice to give them like my travel schedule, to be like, oh, I'm going to be in Connecticut April, and I'll be back in October, blah, blah, blah. So that I can hopefully book sessions and it'll stay in their inbox. They can save it, versus an Instagram post might disappear and they'll never see it again. So
100%. I also want to say something about you mentioning you don't want to bother people, because I have been told this numerous times. It's like, I'm going to use, what's a website I shop on? I don't really shop anywhere but Amazon, but I'm thinking of like a Gap. Let's use Gap as an example. You know, when they have a special or you're subscribed, they're texting you, they're in your inbox, and you're just deleting it if you don't want to see it. True. But you see that one caption where it's like 50% off or whatever you were looking for, and you're like, oh my God, here it is. You're going to click on it.
Yeah.
So I only am preferencing that because I used to feel that way about posting, about being in people's inboxes, about following up with clients, that I was bothering them. And I was taught through coaching and all the things that you have to. Like, it's not you bothering them. They can unsubscribe at any time that they want to. They can unfollow you at any time that they want to. if you don't want to see my stuff, unfollow me. Why are you following me then? So it's like you have to train your mind, because I used to feel that way. And I don't feel that way anymore. Like, I am blasting Mompreneur on the Vintage Horse. And at first I was like, I don't know if that's the right space, but it is. And that's how I'm going to get the word out. Yeah. And if you don't want to follow me anymore, sorry, bye, see you later.
Yeah.
You know, like, so I have to remind myself that. So that's me reminding myself by telling you and our audience too. But I love that. I'm so happy you had such a great experience.
Thank you.
I knew you would.
Yeah.
But you have to experience it for
yourself. You never know, though. Yeah. Like, Kelly was telling me that she went to one in January, I think. Or was it last January? I don't remember. But the last one that she went to was a bad experience. Like, horrible experience. Like, she bought a ticket and half of the girls didn't even stay in the Airbnb. They were not connected at all. Some of them didn't even go to the shoots. They would, like, bought a ticket and then didn't even go because they didn't want to shoot whatever it was. And she was just kind of like... She kind of felt like she was sort of like left in the dust. Like, some girls were there and wanted to make friends and some of them didn't. Yeah. And like the host didn't really care to regroup everybody, and it was just weird. So you never really know. And that's why I was so picky about the one I wanted to go to. Yeah. I almost bought a ticket at some random one and then was like, but I don't know though. And then waited, and fate, you know, Britt and Alex popped up and I was like, Britt and Alex in Oregon? This is a dream come true. I need this. So
it's funny.
Lucky.
You mentioned something else when you were telling your story about meeting the friends and the connections that you made. And I listened to the whole thing, but I did it here and there. But the Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins, is that her name? By Mel. We're just going to call her Mel. If you know about the Let Them Theory and you know about Mel, you've heard about all this. Have you ever read it or heard of it?
No.
So it's basically a theory around the fact of you can't change other people's opinions. You just need to let them do what they're going to do, and you react how you react. And it's amazing. Highly recommend. You know, I don't read, so I've been listening to it on Audible, but the chapter I'm on right now is all about making adult friendships. And it's actually something that we're going to talk about and have a workshop leader with the Mompreneur event. I actually might lead this one because I just think it's so powerful. Going to networking events, going to retreats, going to things where you're putting yourself out there as an adult is very, very hard. And you said something about you connected with the ones that you drove with, and everybody else was really nice, but you connected with the ones that you were with. And I wrote it down, so I want to talk about it.
Okay.
I wrote it down because this is something that I'm talking about in the Mompreneur event. But it says, it was a study done by University of Kansas. And it's to become a casual friend with someone, you need to spend 74 hours with them. To become a close friend, you need to spend 200 hours. But you surrounded yourself with those people because you were with them in a car. You were with them for a longer purpose, and nothing against those other people. And then they talk about in the Let Them Theory that your neighbors who live really close to you, and I'm going to use kids as an example, and their kids live very close. Like, my son has two friends. One lives on Main Street, which is our direct street, but far enough where the boys can't walk to each other. Okay. And then his other friend lives behind us on a street that he could walk to. He's hung out with that friend more because he could walk there, because it's easy. Yeah. It's convenient. And nothing against his other friend. They're still besties. They see each other every day at school, on the bus. But he's building a better relationship with the one that he is more convenient to. Right. And it's this whole theory on, you know, those convenient friends are the ones that you're going to probably have more time with, more whatever with, versus the ones where it takes a little bit longer for you. And I just thought that was so powerful because you just proved that happens. Yeah. Like, again, nothing was wrong with the other girls, but you built that relationship. And I saw the same thing at my retreat. Oh, okay. I built the relationship with the ones who were in my group of, you know, we did workshops or whatever. The one who I shared a room with the most. Yeah. The ones who wanted to spend the time more versus the ones who were all there. Yeah. But like, those are the ones that I still talk to more outside of the retreat. Yeah. So it's just really interesting, like, because you're not going to connect with everyone either. Right. So it's like interesting why you connect with certain people. Yeah. And like the Let Them Theory it's so powerful. You should definitely check it out.
That's so cool.
But it's just this whole premise about like making adult friends, and it's hard. Yeah. Like, they, not to dive into this too much, but another thing she talked about was like school, college, work forces you to be friends with people. like you are with those people all the time.
Yeah.
So you're not forces you, but allows you to make it easier to connect with people versus as an adult, if you're not going to these networking events, if you're not putting yourself out there and seeing those people over and over again, you're not going to build those relationships as easily as it was in college where you're directly across the hall.
The situation puts you like in each other's space.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it was so powerful just to hear all of that. But yeah.
Yeah, because I love them all, and I felt like I could have bonded with them all if I had the opportunity to. Yeah. But yeah, we just weren't together as much that it, you know.
And like the car conversations are the best conversations.
Yeah.
So it's like you just had a different experience with those women.
Yeah.
So it's
so cool.
Yeah, it's powerful.
Yeah.
So I'm going to quickly dive into mine, and then we're going to go on our vision boards because we are rocking and rolling today. So I have launched the second Mompreneur event and I'm super excited about it. I was a little skeptical because I am getting into our busy season, but I want to keep the momentum going with this. I want to keep the excitement, the fun, the power that was in that room was unlike anything else. And I'm a firm believer that you have to do hard things to see an outcome. So I'm doing a hard thing because I'm doing it during my busy season. We just talked about May is my busiest May so far to date. And the event is May 19th. So I'm super excited. It's just going to be so fun and powerful. And I haven't finalized the speakers. I'm just working the kinks out between. I have a few, and I have ideas that I want, but I'm just finalizing, and I can't wait to launch who they are because I know that the people that I have put in place to be leaders are going to help these women so much. And just hearing the feedback from the first one, I was like, I got to do this again. Got to do this again. I didn't think I was going to do it so quickly, but here we are, and I'm super excited.
Well, I think that's best though, because everybody's still like on the high from the last one that like it's still in their minds. The people I talk to
who want to buy tickets for this one were like, I had so much FOMO seeing your other one that I'm not going to miss this one. So I was like, yay.
Cool.
So hopefully I'm excited, but we are keeping it intimate and small again. We had a lot of women in the room, but it wasn't overwhelming where you couldn't talk to each other. You couldn't have the conversation. You couldn't make the relationship. So I'm still keeping it intimate, and it's going to be, I'm just super excited. Cool. So May 19th, grab your tickets. I can't wait.
Cool.
And then let's dive into our vision board today. So
all right, go ahead.
Start with mine.
Sure.
Okay. So I just pulled it up. And it's funny because the first thing that I looked at was hiring my bookkeeper.
Yes, you did that.
And you did that. I am so proud. Abby is amazing. Yeah. I haven't even started really, we had our our call, we had our pre-consultation meeting and all the things. And I just talking to her and explaining to her what I'm looking for, what I want to gain out of this. And she just got me. And I was like, yes. So I can't wait for that. The other thing was working out. It is nice again. I have been going for walks or to the gym every single day last week, Monday through Friday. Okay. I did take the weekend off because I did go for a walk yesterday actually. But it was raining on Saturday. So I feel rain and I'm just don't. I'm not going out. I'm not doing anything. But yesterday I took the kids for a bike ride and my mom and I went for a walk, and it just I feel like when you get your body flowing, it gives you life again. And it just inspires you to want to be better. Yeah.
That's how I felt on the retreat, going to all these really cool places. None of them were a serious hike, but to get to the location, you have to walk through the woods a little bit. So after doing that and stopping every couple feet to take some pictures, because I took a lot of landscape shots just for me, and I was still on that track and had that itch, and I'd spent a whole almost 24 hours traveling at the airport and everything. Then when I got home, Jake and I hung out the night that I came home, and then we were planning what to do the next day because we haven't seen each other for a week. And I said that I wanted to do a bike ride or do a hike or something.
Love that.
But then I woke up and I just didn't feel that good, so we didn't. And I didn't want to push it, and even if I'm not sick, I didn't want to make myself sick. Yep. So I was like, maybe we'll go for a drive instead. But I had the same kind of feeling once you get into the habit of doing it every day, it's it feels more natural to want to go back out to do it versus the first day is always the hardest day.
The hardest.
So
Yep. And today after this, I'm going to go for a walk, and then I'm meeting one of my friends for lunch. So that was another thing. family dinners and just like being around your friends more. And I feel like I'm already doing that. I'm going to more of my book clubs. I'm not gonna give too much away, but we're going somewhere for one of my friends' birthdays, and I'm just like celebrating people again. And I feel like I was in a season where I was working my business so much that I didn't allow myself to have the fun.
Yeah.
And again, that's a season that you're in. And I'm not mad that I wasn't in that season, and I'm grateful that my friends stuck around and, you know, didn't ditch me. Not that they would. I have very amazing friends, but it's hard when you're in a different season of your life than your friends are.
I mean,
and
what you just said about the book that you were reading, that like if you're in the same space as them, you're going to bond more. But then if you're not, you could lose touch or like all of those things. So
exactly. Yeah. 100%.
It relates, yeah.
And the other one was like not redecorating my house, but just making my spaces more of where I want to sit or be in. And I bought my first, I guess it would be my largest home purchase, which was an outdoor patio set. Ooh. And you know you're old when you shop at Costco and you get things from Costco. You get patio sets from Costco.
I just got my Costco card, so.
Oh my God. It's life-changing. But I got the one with the fire pit in the middle.
Ooh.
And it's big enough where it has 6 seats and it's like a higher
nice.
one. So it's not like, I guess it's like bar stool height. But we have eaten as a family out there every single day.
Wow.
Except for Saturday when it was raining.
Right.
And last night it was so windy. So we were like, we're not eating out here either. But we have sat out there as a family every single night with the fire going. Oh. And then my husband and I will like have a glass of wine when the kids go to bed. And like, it's just you making spaces where you feel like you want to be in them.
Yeah.
Makes you want to be in them more.
Yeah.
And I just like, I've been doing my work out there in the mornings and just like, feeling so good.
Oh my
about
gosh,
it.
that's the dream.
Oh, the dream. Literally. I mean, it was $2,000. It wasn't that big of a purchase, but like to me it was because like I don't spend money like that on myself or things. So like for me, I was like, but I think when you spend the money, you want to use what you spent it on.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm like, I need to get every dollar out of this. Yeah. So I'm using this every single day.
Oh, yeah.
But it's just like, and you feel like proud that like, you're like, you know what? I bought that for myself. Yeah. And like you make yourself, you worked hard for that. Yeah. And like I worked hard to be able to buy that for myself. Yeah. So,
and your kids are going to remember it too. Like you're already making core memories with them eating outside every night. Literally. I remember we had like, when I was growing up, we had like a little deck sort of thing with like, it was like a plastic, like the plastic set of like white, like chairs and like plastic table and stuff. Yep. We had that set, and going outside in the summer, like we ate outside like almost every day in the summer, and I loved that as a kid. And like
my kids asked me, they're like, are we eating outside tonight?
It's
I'm
exciting.
Like, yep. Yes, we are.
It's exciting.
Yes, we are. So I love that. And then there's a picture of me and my bartender on here in the trailer, and the reason I put that on was this was the year that I'm really going to try to step away from the business and put the girls in it more. And I feel like I'm really doing that. And I'm very proud of myself because it is hard to exit yourself from the baby that you created, from the business you created. And another mobile bar recently just had a baby, and she's actually a Connecticut mobile bar. This is her 4th. And I'm
wow.
Like, go you girl. But literally like just had the baby, and she's going into her season, and she posted something like a picture with the baby, and she posted something about like her team being so amazing. She's like, but the FOMO was going to kick in soon. So I'm sure like I'll be back behind the bar. And that reminded me that I'm not alone in those feelings where you created this and then you're like, well, I could either pay someone or I could work. But it's like, me paying someone is allowing 2 things. 1, to remind myself that I built this business, and 2, to allow to support somebody else and to support my girls. And like, they are so amazing. They show up for me at every single event. And like, I want to allow them to put food on the table for their families. So like,
true.
That's what I have to remind myself. And there's a week at May 10th. That weekend, I leave on Sunday for the conference I work with Devin, and Saturday night we have a big wedding. My whole Chicago family is coming in. It's Mother's Day weekend. My grandma just moved to Chicago on my dad's side, and my cousin's coming in. My aunts are coming in.
Wow.
And we have my cousin's baby shower, and then I have my niece's 3rd birthday.
It's jam-packed.
Jam-packed. And I'm like, well, I need to work this wedding because I need to bring the trailer home after. And then I'm like, no, I can go pick up the trailer later that night, and I could figure it out and make it work. And one of my friends was like, this was the whole point. Like, you wanted to spend time with your family.
Yeah.
And it was like that aha moment of like, okay, I need to do this.
When your family goes to bed, then you can go.
Then I'm going to go. Exactly.
Right. When it's convenient.
Exactly. When it's convenient, not to disrupt what I worked so hard to create. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, wow.
The other thing on here, I had my son's school, which I just volunteered on Friday. They do, it's called the school store, and they have like a little cart that you drive to the classrooms. It's actually adorable. And I took him home with me early, and we had like a mom and son day. It was so cute. And we just like, it's hard with 2 kids, like to bond with them differently because we're always together.
Okay.
So it was really nice just to have like that moment with just him and to make him feel special and like remind him that like he was my first and all the things. So that was like really, really special. And the other one is I have a plane on here. So I need to like write, I think, okay, I put freedom underneath it. So I think it was freedom to be able to travel with my family. And actually, we're going to Aruba this year.
Ooh.
We're going to Aruba.
Cool.
That is it. We already booked it. My family has gone for the past almost 30 years, my grandparents. And then my mom and my stepdad and my aunt and my uncle started going probably like 10 years ago now, which is also crazy. My mom got married there, and ever since they started going. And I want to build those memories with my kids too. So I'm not saying that we're going to be able to afford to go to Aruba every year, but I'm making it a priority to be able to afford to go next year because I don't know how many more times my grandparents are going to be able to go.
Yeah.
So they didn't go 2 years ago because my grandfather was in the hospital. They went this past year. They didn't go last year, but they did go this past March. And I'm like, you know what? We're going. Cool. So we booked the hotel. And we're going. So I'm excited. So that's mine.
Nice.
So I'm doing it.
You are.
I'm so glad that you had me like re-look at it and kind of open it up and stuff and see. Because and I put Mom Event on here. Now we're launching our second one. So.
That's crazy too. What stage were you at when you had made the vision board with the Mompreneur event?
I didn't even have the first one tickets launched yet.
But you had like the name.
I don't know if I had the name. I think I had the idea of what I wanted to do because I went to my retreat in January, the one in Puerto Rico. And I remember telling the woman that I shared a room with, and it's funny because she commented on my post today, and she's like, I'm so proud of you, this and that. And I was like, you were such a big part in like this little decision that I made, big decision. But we were talking about it there, and I think I created the vision board like end of January.
Okay, cool. So it was like
all around. It was brewing.
Yeah.
Yes, it was brewing, but it wasn't. Nice. It wasn't in the universe yet. It was like in my head still.
Oh, and now you're doing the second one.
Now we're doing the second.
That's so cool.
Yes.
That's so sweet. Oh my gosh. All right. This is my vision board. All right. So the knitting and the crafts, I haven't started yet.
Okay.
We'll get there. But healthy habits, I feel like I'm good. Like I've still been making my bed every day. I've still been clearing my space. My desk is pretty clean right now. I feel like I want to get a little bit better. I want to clean off all that over there. But healthy habits, I'm doing my skincare routine every morning and night. I'm feeling settled in that kind of stuff.
Look very good now that you just said that.
Thank you. And I was traveling.
Yeah.
Yeah. Usually I break out a lot when I'm traveling, but keeping things at bay. So I'm excited about that. Thank you. Reading and journaling. Journaled this morning. Wrote like 3 pages before you got here, and that's why I was running late. But I said, this is important.
Yeah. Good.
And I said, feel free to be late today, Jen.
She did.
And then when you got here, I had everything set up. So I felt good about that too. And I've been reading a lot. I'm on my last book of the series. I think when we talked, I was reading the 2 600 page books at the same time. I finished both of those. And now I'm on the last book of the series, and it's very bittersweet. And my mom just bought me a Kindle.
Oh, love.
I know.
Yes.
She's so sweet because I was talking about how I'm traveling. I went to Oregon, and I'm going to Washington, and then we're going to Alaska. And the book that I'm reading right now is literally 900 pages. And my backpack was so heavy that it set off the passenger seat alarm when I was on the way to the airport. So I was like, I don't think I can pack this 900-page book. And I was complaining to her about it. And then she went out and bought me a Kindle. And I was like,
the best.
Girl, stop. So that was really freaking sweet. And so I'm excited to bring it to Alaska. And I'm excited to bring it to Washington. And I'll be able to pack more you know, like souvenirs or like whatever. I won't have to carry as much on my back. Aligned and abundant. This is a lot of what Oregon looked like. I didn't really see any mountains though, because I was on the coast. Okay. So like we looked at the beach a lot, and the beach obviously was just going to the open ocean. So I didn't really see a lot of mountains, but that's what Oregon kind of looks like. I'm excited to see Washington and be able to be like more inland in those states. So I'm so pumped for that. I'm getting my nails done on Wednesday. So just the little things are so exciting. Yeah, I just like to treat myself a little bit. Growth and appreciation. I feel like I knew a lot of the information that was taught to me at the retreat, but it was validating.
Yeah.
So even though I don't feel like I know everything, I'm not going to say that. But sitting through the lectures, I was just kind of like nodding my head like, yes, I would preach the same. Or like, yes, I do that too. Yes, I do that too. And then there were the couple of nuggets where I was like, ooh, I like that. I'm going to put that in my pocket, you know? But even for the things that I felt like I already do or did know, it was validating to be like, oh, I knew that, but I don't do that enough. Or like, you know, just like reaffirm things. So that was cool. And yeah, had a wonderful weekend with Jake. So cherishing the moment, you know, we didn't really have a ton of plans, but we cooked and, you know, had yummy dinners and just hung out. It was just very nice, and I was appreciating being back, even though we didn't have any plans and we, you know, whatever. It was just
sometimes
nice to be home.
Best, like the unplanned plans.
Yeah, right, exactly. So.
Oh, I love that.
So I'm excited.
So
and plans in motion. I just got a new inquiry for Alaska, so hopefully that pans through. And now that I have some work in the Oregon coast to post, I will be doing that. And before I know it, I'm going to be in Washington and then Alaska. So, and those are the 3 states that I would love to work in and travel to once I live out there. So plans in motion, babe. It's going to hit. Again? I'm going to Washington in June and Alaska in July. Okay. So what the heck? Come August, guys, my whole feed is going to be transformed. Shut up. I'm so excited.
It's going to be amazing.
Yeah. So
I'm so proud of us.
It's my recap.
I mean, I feel like, first of all, I can't believe it's already like almost halfway through the year, which is wild. It's actually crazy. I mean, it's not. It's still, we're almost in May, but it's still almost there. And to see that we've already done like our boards,
it's so exciting.
But I think it's so important that we continue to look at them. And I know that's something that we had talked about when we first did it, like either putting it on your phone, putting it on your background or computer. I didn't do either.
Me neither.
But I still think it's important to relook at it. And like we are. Like I don't think last year I relooked at mine at all. And then the end of the year, I was like, oh, I did that. And then some things I was like, I don't remember why I put that on here. Mm-hmm. So it's important to like write why you put things, because you're definitely going to forget. Yeah. But I'm proud of us.
Yes. Yeah. Setting up the year with intention.
Yes.
And we are on our way.
What was your word again this year? Mine was bold.
Oh my God, I don't remember. I don't remember because I remember I said something wrong. Remember, I said something, and then when I was editing the episode, or like posted it, you texted me and you were like, I think you meant this. And I was like, yeah, I think I did mean that. Now I'm forgetting. It was
mine was bold, and I feel like I am definitely making like bold moves this year.
You
like,
are.
Doing the second Mompreneur event already, and there's something very exciting in the works. I'm not going to share it at all yet, but
oh my God,
very exciting.
Okay.
Even like, I guess just think bigger and better Mompreneur event, but like for everyone. Nice. So like, not just moms.
Ooh, yes. Okay.
And also, I just need to preference the Mompreneur event is not only for moms.
Yeah.
There was so many women. I want to say out of the 50, 60 people we had, 5 to 7 were not moms. I don't know if they want to be moms. I don't know if they down the road want to be moms, but one was a dog mom, and dog moms are moms too. You have someone to take care of. You are a mom. But I just want to preference that it's not just for moms. But coming in the future is something that I'm super excited about. Cool. It is like very early stages, but I'm putting in the universe. Cool. Here we go.
Cool.
Yeah. And then busy season is here.
Yeah. And my word was about, my word last year was balance. And I think I was taking in that a little bit more about like my hobbies and like personal life balance and giving my business what it needs. And I'm giving my business what it needs, and my business is growing with my associate team, and I'm so freaking excited about that. I have a wedding on Saturday with a second shooter with Justine. So pumped about that. And then we also have a photo video elopement at Hartford City Hall that 2 girls are doing for me. And I got an inquiry for also the 3rd for Saturday from a past client's sister for vow renewal for like an hour at a city hall. So I'm trying to see if I can make that work with somebody from the team. So we'll be doing possibly 3 ceremonies on Saturday. That's crazy. And like you said about giving people opportunities and giving your friends the opportunity to put food on the table because of what you're doing, like that is work for 4 different people, not just myself. Like I'll be able to give people money via my clients from it's just so cool. It's just so freaking cool. So just for validating. Oh yeah. Okay. Duh.
Which I feel like you're doing.
Yes. I feel like I'm giving my business like all the nutrients it needs to grow and to make me grow too, because buying a house hopefully and moving across the country, and that's going to be a huge expense, and that's why I've been trying to book so much, but also just to like soak it all in and like just do as much as I possibly can with all of my friends down here before it's not too late, but before I have to go. So I'm trying to like go out with a bang.
Yes.
And I am.
You will. You will.
So much fun.
I think as long as you remind yourself that, like, we're going to wrap up soon, but I've been having a lot of like mom guilt lately about not spending as much time and being as present with my kids. I feel like I've been on my phone a little bit more than usual lately, just because like launching the event, like I'm just on my phone too much, and I am recognizing that. And one thing that one of my friends told me that she started doing was not using the phone in the morning at all. Like, I do use it when I first wake up if I'm like laying in bed, not gonna lie, but keeping it in my room when I go downstairs to like make the kids breakfast, to send them off to school.
I like that.
So really trying to be present at least in the morning with them, because I do think it sets the tone for the day.
It
for
does,
them.
for sure.
And for me. And I just think that that's been helping. So I'm becoming more self-conscious about that. But what you just said, like, I don't want to have regret of these years as my kids continue to get older of me not being present with them. And I truly, as I remind myself that, I know that I am, and I'm doing a great job, but you can always do more. And that's just who you are as a human. Like, you just think you can always do more. But I think I'm doing a great job, and I need to just remind myself that. And you're doing a great job too.
Oh, thank you. Let's eat dinner outside tonight.
Yes. Everybody go eat dinner outside today,
yes.
Even if it's cold or rainy, wherever you are.
Do it.
So, all right. Well, we are wrapping up. We'll be back in 2 weeks.
Yeah, so nice to see you.
So good to see you.
See you Monday after next.
Yes.
Cheers.